Hello my fellow gamers, and welcome once again to my SimCity video tutorials. I'll be continuing on with my Gemstone Valley region where I am building my Emerald Empire up to be a successful processor, computer and TV productions city. In this episode I will be going up all the way to high density. I have only done a few minor things in my city since the previous video, so I will first go through those and then we are going to go up to medium density and start the actual production of processors, TVs and computers. I'll pause for the moment so I can explain. I have added a shuttle bus depot to this city so that I can have enough buses going around the city picking up sims, but that they will not be spawning in all the other cities, because buses from the bus terminal spawn in all the other cities if you upgrade the number from 3 to 6 to 9. But these buses are only going to be inside this city and therefore they are going to be the ones driving my sims around. I have also increased my network of the passenger train stations by pulling this train track all the way down here for another passenger train station. Then I built a huge bridge to the other side where I have my third passenger train station. On this corner up here I have the ferry terminal, which is still going to be off until I have another city with a ferry terminal. Because of the amount of recyclables I am creating in this city, I have had to add more trade depots and more storage lots for alloy and plastic. This alloy and plastic will come in handy once I start the production of processors, as those two are the raw materials that are necessary. As for my research, I have reached 98% for concentrated solar arrays, and as soon as I hit the next school day, I am going to have it researched all the way. I'm going to have the solar power station up here. Next to it I will have my second recycling center, sewage treatment plant and my water pumping station. I haven't messed around too much with the buildings in this city, as their happiness level will testify. I have only destroyed and rebuilt a few of these neighborhoods because I was trying to maximize the number of parks and the spaces that these buildings are using. As you can see, my people are quite happy with me, and there are no buildings that have a problem with no money. From time to time I will have a building go down from absolute green to absolute red in a single day and just say out of money, and those get the bulldoze treatment. My mayor rating is now 96%. I don't think I have ever even reached more than this, and if I had any way to stop these sims from getting sick or injured, I would probably get to 100. But as you know, it is the time to destroy that beautiful high rating and go up to high density. So while we wait for the next school day to begin and my research to be completed, I am going to finish up raising these buildings up to medium density, as I have managed to squeeze a few more megawatts out of my first city by entering it, waiting for the wind to pick up to its maximum miles per hour, and my wind power plant was able to get me a few more megawatts. As you can see, the city can buy up to 45 megawatts. So these buildings are all going to go up onto this street. So I will start on this corner here and hopefully have a nice big medium density, medium wealth building. There we go. Delete the unnecessary extras and continue down. Over here I should have the next building. While on this side I should have a medium density building, a park, an expanded shop, and then two more medium density, medium wealth buildings. Now let's look what's happening here. I seem to have a problem where my high wealth land value is influencing this home to become a high wealth home. Now this can be tricked by doing something like this. If I place the bus stop, it is going to ruin the high wealth land value and is going to push it to medium. Now if I delete these homes and these items here that have no purpose, I should have no problem for this part here to become my next medium wealth, medium density building. When it comes to this side, you can see I already have these two medium density, medium wealth buildings. This shop should become medium wealth, and right here I should place my park. While these buildings should go to medium density. Now, as they say that they do not have enough room, I will be bulldozing the housing on the underside of the state. Besides these medium wealth neighborhoods, I also need to go up at low wealth neighborhoods. So first things first, medium density streets, medium density streets. Same on this side. You will notice that I have changed how this part here looks like, because I need the people who are going to work in these factories here to have a way of circulating between these parts of the city and not just be coming in from one side. So that is why I deleted those avenues that were protruding from these round corners and made these squares that I'm going to fill up with those factories. My processor factories, my two processor factories, are going to be here instead of these industrial buildings, while my computer and TV production plants are going to be on these corners, left and right. And we are starting our new school day, and soon I will have just enough students for this research to be completed. Let's increase the speed, and you can even watch how all of my students are going to be coming into the university. A very interesting side effect of pulling these footpaths from the university's modules up to an avenue is that once you connect it with an avenue, it can be used for U-turns by Sims, and now instead of having to go all the way up there to do a U-turn and go into the university like they had a problem when I had the college, now they can use these intersections here for U-turn and go into the university more easily. Seem to be getting a medium well home for some reason up here. I will leave it here for now, but probably will need to bulldoze it later on. %. Come on, so close. And 100%. Research finished. Concentrated solar arrays have been finished. Next research can be the solar farm, great work, but I will not be using that one. All the other ones require other schools for the university, so there's nothing else for me to be researching right now. I seem to have a slight issue here. They would like to build a medium wealth home here, but I would like low wealth homes, so I'm going to go inch by inch. One home at a time. Oh, that's fine. Now, in order to build the solar power plant, I first have to place the road that's going to be leading up to it. I have decided to have my big water pumping station right here, and next to it the sewage. So I need to see just how much space I need to leave for it. So let's say about here. Yep, that should be fine. On the other side of the street, I will have the sewage treatment plant, while this road will be now continuing on up, then as close to the avenue as possible. And now I can build solar power plant on this piece of road here. Now it's a bit tricky to get the exact placement that you need when you're building the concentrated solar arrays, but they do require about half the space that a normal solar panel needs. So I think I should hit it on the mark about here. There we go. Perfect. I'll be deleting this fixed solar array, which is not as powerful as these concentrated solar arrays. And now I can build as many of these as I need, going all the way to this avenue. Now this city is producing 150 megawatts, and I can stop buying power from my neighbor, but I might as well use the power that that city has to offer. Now if you take a look at the rest of these zones, going up to medium density is going nicely. I will help it along. Let's see the other side. Very nice. Now that I have the necessary power from my city, and I can buy 50 more megawatts from the first city if I need them, I have around 60 more water capacity and sewage capacity that I can buy from the first city, but I am going to build those buildings in this city as well, because I wish this city to have the capacity to sell to the other new cities later on. So I will be placing this water pumping station right here. Upgrade it a little bit. Same with the sewage. Now if I look at the population panel, I should advise you to look at this often, but do not trust it as much, because once you go to absolutely high density in your entire city, you can have a lot of unfilled jobs because industry and shops can operate without having the maximum number of workers every day. They can operate with the minimal necessary. So as I now have huge amounts of power, water and sewage, I can now upgrade my buildings to high density, and I can also start building my processor factories. I have decided for my processor factories to reside between this road that I'm building right now and this road right here. I'll be connecting these two roads. With this new road, onto which I will plop my processor factories. Now you should be aware of one thing. You cannot upgrade a processor factories with 4 processor production mods onto one side. I am aware of this, and I'm doing precisely this because I do not wish for too many mods to be on this building. I am fine with 3 mods because then there will be fewer traffic coming to this building because it is going to produce just a little bit less than the maximum, and I am totally fine with that. I just need to make a good placement of these buildings. So if my first processor factory is going to be here, I need to leave enough room for it to be able to upgrade. Now, if I need to measure up just how big of an upgrade this is, I can use, for example, a park and ride, because it is almost the same size. So one would be here, the next upgrade would need to be here, so that is 3. I can have my second processor factory anywhere from here. And now this processor factory itself can be upgraded. Now that that's done, I can upgrade the roads to medium density so that they can take more traffic. I have left this piece here for my trade port later on and the connection to the railway system. This piece here is going to be computer and TV production plant. Same here. I have upgraded the processor factories, both of them with 2 additional processor production assembly lines. The trade depots are now going to have their hands full delivering the alloy and the plastics, so I'm going to upgrade them with more trucks, as I'm going to upgrade the delivery trucks on the processor production plants. And once enough alloy or plastic gets delivered from this trade depot, and from this one I will change some of the storage lots into processor storage lots. I am now going to expand my buildings up to high density in order to supply my city with enough workers so that these plants can be operational quite quickly, while I can then upgrade my trade HQ and my electronics HQ and then build the other factories for computers and TVs. So if I look at my happiness levels, I can see which buildings I can upgrade to high density. I'm going to need some high wealth, some medium wealth, and some low wealth. So let's start with high wealth. I'm also going to need a high wealth, high density shop, so this one seems to be ready for an upgrade. So let's upgrade the stretch of road, zone it for commercial, and this building should now have no problem going up. I also need more of these homes to go to high density, so I will be upgrading this road as well. I could use a high density building on this side as well, so I will allow these buildings to go up in density as well. There we go, it's happening already. Now let's see about upgrading some medium wealth buildings up to high density. These guys here look like good candidates. So, road to high density. I will not be upgrading the shops for now. I will only upgrade them once I see that these neighborhoods really need the extra shopping. Let's see over here. This neighborhood looks quite ready for an upgrade. Down here, this neighborhood looks also ready for an upgrade. Since the first processors are about to be built and these trade depots have not emptied any of their storage lots, I have destroyed these two, which I'm going to upgrade with processor storage lots. Also will upgrade with more delivery trucks. Now let's take a look at the low wealth neighborhoods and upgrade them to high density. These guys here seem ready. Again, shops are gonna be dezoned so that they do not go to high density just yet. Let's see the other side. I almost forgot to place the processors for export. Now, as I'm going to have far more residents in my city, I'm probably going to have even more criminals. So I will be adding another 2 police cars and getting my total up to 10. Since I'm going to be having far more workers, shoppers in the city, I need to upgrade my transportation department. I already have some bus stops placed around the city and some buses up and running, but I will now add some more shuttle buses, after which I'll be adding some more bus stops. I'll most likely soon have to start importing both alloy and plastic, because just one recycling center cannot produce the required raw materials. Here you can see the low weld high density being built, and it should correspond, and it is on the other side as well. Now I might not end up having the required space on this side because I have left a lot of space between this railroad and this road. Now I could expand this road just a little bit. It may be just the space required to get 2 high density buildings and a shop between them in these neighborhoods. I will not do it right now, I will do it later on if I see a need for it. Now, as I seem to have a lot of unemployed, medium wealth, high wealth, but a lot of requests for goods, that means that I can now safely upgrade my shops and they will have the required workers. This is what I was talking about when I said that some homes just simply skyrocket to no money and complete unhappiness from time to time. So those you just have to bulldoze. Now that I have built so many high density buildings, my power consumption has went up considerably. So I will be upgrading my solar power plant with more concentrated solar arrays. My surgeon water capacity is still enough to cover this city, so I do not have to increase it. When it comes to having enough recycling trucks, I can now go up to the maximum number. I have unlocked the electronics HQ and the trade HQ, so I will be plopping both of these. Trade HQ up here, while the electronics HQ should go about here, but since I am not entirely sure how much space do I need for the trade port, which is going to be here instead of this trade depot, I'm not going to build the electronics HQ right here, so that I can see exactly where I'm going to build it once this area has been remapped for the trade port and its upgrades. But I can already see that this road can be moved closer to my processor production plant. Which is already freeing up more space for the trade port. Now that I can already upgrade my trading HQ, I'm going to upgrade it with the electronics division, so that I can upgrade my trade port with the storage slots necessary to export risk processors and TVs. Once this trade depot is emptied of its raw materials, I'm going to bulldoze it and instead of it create a trade port which I can now build. As my number of residents goes up, I have more unemployment and more need for shops. So I need to go around my city and see which shops can be upgraded to high density. I will first visit the low wealth neighborhoods. Not enough room to go to high density, which is a bit strange. That shouldn't be a problem. In these two neighborhoods, I should also be able to go to high density with my shops. When it comes to medium wealth shops, I do need those to go up to high density as well. This one is already going up. Down here, this one is already going up to high density medium wealth, while this one seems to have been created as a low wealth. I'll be bulldozing that and seeing if it's gonna come up again as a medium wealth. If not, I can give it more space by turning this park into a smaller version. Okay, let's see now. There we go. This is still only medium density, while I need it to go to high density. I will let this building go up on its own if possible. Let's take a look out here. This one is going up. This one is going up as a low wealth. That is unacceptable. It has to be a medium wealth. So let's see if we can do something about that. There we go. Medium wealth, high density. Perfect. Up here. Come on, you can do it. I also need a lot more low wealth shops, which I'm hoping that they're finally going to create. But I seem to constantly get the not enough room to increase density messages. So these buildings may require some bit more space. Let's see if this does the trick. There we go. This one should be able to do it on its own because there is enough space here left for it. Let's see what happens if I bulldoze it. There seems to be an issue here with this zoning. Which I hope has been now fixed. If I look on the other side, I seem to be going up to high density with this building. But this one has yet to go up to high density. But it isn't saying that it needs more room, so it should go up on its own. This trade depot has now been completely emptied of raw materials, and I will be bulldozing it in order to make a trade port. Bulldozing the freight shipping warehouse, building one for processors. As for TVs or computers, I will be leaving that blank until I actually need those. When it comes to exporting, it cannot be exported without a rail connection. While on the sea, I simply don't have any room with this railroad bridge here, so I will need to free up some room here. Now let's see, this is going to be the second one, third, probably fourth over here, fifth, which means that the freight terminal should be able to be built right here. There we go. Now I can remake this street. And on this street now I can place the electronics HQ. On this side here I will have enough room for a TV computer factory, while up here I should have just enough room for an upgrade for the electronics HQ. As there are no buildings that can be built on this side of the trade port, this is where I will connect this avenue and this road. Now, as they seem to be running low on alloy and plastic, I have to start importing those. Since my trade port will now be exporting the processors and later on TVs and computers, I have stopped exporting processors from this trade depot, and it is only going to be used for import of plastic and alloy, and therefore the storage lots are gonna go back to being plastic and alloy. At this point I have a lot of unfilled jobs in all three wealth categories. I also have a lot of unsold goods in the medium and high wealth categories, so I can upgrade more of those neighborhoods up to high density. Let's find some medium ones to upgrade. These guys here seem to be ready to go up to high density, so I will be upgrading these roads to high density streets. I'll even leave this shop because it hasn't yet reached its maximum happiness level, so I don't have to worry about it going up to high density anytime soon. I need to put back the zoning, the residential zone here, but these guys here seem to be ready and willing. So let's upgrade this street to high density, and all of these guys can now go up to high density. When it comes to low wealth, I have already gone to high density here and here. Now this neighborhood should be the next. I'm not entirely sure just how well spaced this is, so I may need to make some changes here. next neighborhood. No problems here. On the other side, this one is already high density, so I'll go on to the next. One high density here, one high density shop here, no problem. Up here, high density building here, and there are 3 shops here. Well, I only need 1, so I will dezone these 2. This shop seems to be having problems finding enough space to be a medium wealth shop, so I will need to remove this park, or at least make a smaller park, so that it can go up to the medium wealth. Try this on for size. Much better. What do we have here? Some issues. Fixed. I seem to have gotten a low wealth building up here, so this needs to be changed. Much better. There appears to not be enough space here for a high density building. So in that case, I will have to bulldoze this park. I have more and more unfilled jobs while I still have unsold goods, so this means that I have no issues with having more buildings go to high density. I will just wait for these to be built and settled so that I can see the new numbers. As I now have even more people traveling on my bus routes, I need to increase the number of shuttle buses, so I will be adding up to maximum capacity. As I take a look once more at my population tab, I can see that my unfilled jobs at low wealth workers have skyrocketed, and that I seriously need to upgrade all my low wealth neighborhoods to high density. So the remaining neighborhoods have to be increased to their maximum density. I just need to see the exact placement of these buildings. My export by rail from the trade port seems to be operational because I'm getting payments for 200,000 for processors, so that means that the rail system is exporting the double quantities that a truck could. So I will not have to be bulldozing anything, and the trade port will be exporting by rail, which is awesome news. I have sold enough processors that I can upgrade my electronics HQ, which I have just done, and I will add the consumer electronics division right here. Now I can build my additional factories, which one goes here. Since TVs are sold at a lower price than computers, as we can see here, computers are exported for 184,000 while the TVs are exported for 158,000. But you have to remember that building TVs requires only plastic, while building computers requires metal. So for me it is easier to just keep building TVs because they are spending the same resource and plastic as the production of processors does. so I'll be just building more TV assembly lines. Another factory right here, and also 2 more mods. Place TVs as export. I am now having around 3,500 recycling bins collected per day. If I see that my recycling center cannot seem to cope with the tonnage of recyclables that come in every day and is unable to convert it all to plastic and alloy, I can build the next recycling center about here and have that one produce alloy and plastic as well. As for the small problem of not having enough space here for 2 high density buildings, I may be able to fix that by taking these roads all the way to the edge. I'll see about that right now. I'm not sure if this is going to be enough room, but I will upgrade these roads regardless. There we go, I have moved my road right next up to the railroad, so now I might even have enough space here to have 2 high density load built buildings next to each other, a high density shop. So this will require some bulldozing and rebuilding. I have now zoned it all as residential, and then I'm going to see what room remains and use that space for commercial. I finally have enough students per day to upgrade my university once again. A good question would be, which school should I choose? Medicine, law, engineering, business, detectiving. I'm going to need that for my casino city. Space center, I may build that as my grade work, but not anytime soon. So, like I said, I could use the detective wing, so I should build a school of law right here. As you can see now, there is quite a lot of Sims, either workers or shoppers, traveling around my city in their cars. Some of them are using the buses, but there is a huge number of cars on my streets at the moment. In order to reduce this, I am going to be building my streetcar depot. In order to build a streetcar depot, I need to first upgrade this avenue to a streetcar avenue. Then place my streetcar depot and upgrade it with some streetcars. Now I need to have this entire outer avenue as a streetcar avenue in order for my streetcars to be able to travel around. You should be aware that the streetcar network has a strange quirk where if you have streetcar stops that are too close to each other, then streetcars are just gonna be bouncing between those 2 stations and are not gonna go any further. So when you're placing these, you have to really space them apart far enough that you will not be having that issue. So one of my stations is going to be here, the next one is going to be here, then here, here and here, next one here, one here, another one up here, and that should be it. In order to have enough power for the city now, I have upgraded the solar power plant almost to full. I have 15 of these concentrated solar arrays. I will not be placing the 16th one because I now have 4,500 recycling bins collected per day. I can then build this new recycling center right here. I will have enough space to upgrade it with 3 upgrades, as I will no longer be requiring the Electronics HQ or the Trade HQ to unlock or build any more of these buildings. I can now shut them down and save myself some upkeep simoleons and also some open jobs. Since having all this industry in this city is going to make a lot of people sick, I now should upgrade from a clinic to a hospital. But to get a hospital, I need to first have a department of safety in the city. So I will be upgrading the town hall, bulldozing this clinic, and building our hospital. Now I can add these wellness centers that are supposed to remove the germs that are created by all my factories. Here we are a bit later. I have changed some buildings and just moved them around so that more of them would fit. I have finished researching the detective wing. I have also added the second recycling center with only a few trucks turned on. The rest have been turned off until I need them for this or another city. When it comes to high density, these low wealth still require some time to go up to full happiness so that they can go to high density. Same goes for these guys on the left, but most of them are at high density. You will notice that on both sides I have left this part here at medium density and not at high density, because I'm still paying attention through which roads are my workers going to my consumer electronic factories. So if these streets don't appear to be experiencing too much heavy traffic, I will upgrade these buildings to high density as well. I think this should be enough for this video. I probably have gone on far too long, and I also think that this is pretty much everything I need to show you about this city. In the next video I can probably move on to my next city. I am most likely gonna go for third city, where I'm going to have a gambling city. So thank you for watching and please stay tuned for more.